As I mentioned in another video, some businesses will want to use billing statements instead of invoices. Businesses like law firms and businesses that charge the same amount monthly, such as a web hosting fee. A billing statement lists the statement charges for any services performed for a customer. But even if you use invoices instead of billing statements, you might want to send periodic billing statements as summaries to remind customers of their account, including overdue invoices. But that's covered in the video on handling overdue payments. In this video, first we'll talk about statement charges, and then we'll talk about creating billing statements. So before you can generate statements, you have to create statement charges. So start by clicking Statement Charges on the home page. QuickBooks opens the register for the accounts receivable account, and in the register, choose the customer for the statement charge. So we'll have to use our imagination here a bit, since this company uses invoices and is not set up to use billing statements. So let's pretend the landscape company focuses on vineyard consulting only, specializing in diagnosing problems with grapes. The company is sort of on call, working 4 hours one day, an hour a couple days later, and 30 minutes another day. So let's go ahead and choose a customer and choose the date that the first statement charge was for. Let's choose January 7th, 2013. The first thing I want to point out is something that confused me when I first started using QuickBooks. I don't know, maybe I'm slow, but it took me forever to get this. But the first line here, these headings here, correspond to the first line of the transaction. And the second line of headings corresponds to the second line of the transactions. I don't know, maybe I'm dense, but I thought I would point that out anyway, just in case. Okay, let's choose the item. We chose the date. Let's choose the item. And let's choose Consulting. Well, let's go back to that menu. The one thing I wanted to point out is that billing statements can't include items that are taxable. They can't include discounts, group items, subtotals. So the item menu only shows the items that are acceptable on billing statements. So you won't see all your items in this list. Okay, so we chose Consulting, and QuickBooks puts the abbreviation for statement charge in the transaction type field. So for the transaction, you have your choice of entering a quantity or the actual amount charge. But I'm going to enter a quantity and enter 5. Next, I'll enter a class, landscaping. And for the build date and due date fields, leave them blank, and QuickBooks will fill in those fields when you actually send the statement. Let's click Record to record that transaction. Now I'll quickly add another one to make it a little bit more realistic. I'll choose a date. Let's say January 10th. Item. This time it was half an hour, so I'll type 0.5. And assign a class. And click Record. So now let me choose one more customer to make it a little bit more realistic. So I'll choose the date. Let's say this one was the 15th. And the item Consulting. Quantity was 7. And class Landscaping. And click Record. By the way, the company file used in other chapters will not have these transactions in them. After this chapter, I will delete these transactions to avoid confusion. Okay, we've entered the statement charges. Now we can create billing statements. Let's go ahead and close the register. To create billing statements, click Statements on the home page. For statement date, choose the date you want to appear on the statement. So let's choose February 1st, 2013. And for the from and to dates, first let's choose January 1st, 2013 to January 31st, 2013. This next option is useful for sending reminder statements, and that's covered in another video. Now we select the customers you want to send the statements to. Clicking All will send statements to all your customers. In this example, we don't want that one, but depending on your company, you may want to send reminder statements to all your customers. You could send it to multiple customers, one customer, customers by type, or preferred send method. So we'll choose multiple. And click Choose to choose the customers. Let's see. We have Colin and Susie. So click OK. And these additional options are optional. You could choose the template, which is the standard template by default. You could create one statement by customer or by job. And you could show the invoice item details on the statement so your customers can be reminded of what each charge was for. So I'm going to select that one. And this option is useful if you have a bulk mail permit that allows you to send mail organized by zip code. So when they print out, they'll be in the order that you need them. For this one, Print Due Date on Transactions shows the due date for each transaction in the statement. These options here, including assessing finance charges, are useful when printing reminder statements, which is covered in another video. So at this point, you could either print them or email them, but first let's preview them to make sure that they look right. So let me drag it so that we can see it. And here you can see that the items are printed out, so the customer knows exactly what the charges were for. There's the current balance down here and any overdue balances. And to see the next statement in the group, click Next Page. And you could print from this page or click Print Later, so we'll click Close. Okay, that's it for creating billing statements.